Welcome, everybody. This is our second episode of the Holocron, a Star Wars podcast. I am your host, Taylor, and I also have my co-pilot here today, not Chewbacca, it is Ian.
Oh, man, I was just going to go, I'm terrible at that. I cannot do him at all.
No, you're fine. You are the co-pilot, though. And then, third of all, we have our special guest today, Alyssa.
Our C-3PO, probably?
No, I'd be more of an adorable R2-D2 type, I think. I apologize in advance, too. I'm getting over some sickness. So if you hear some wonderful nasally hacking and coughing, that's me.
All manner of hacks and everything.
Yes.
So, forgive us. So, this is going to be a very special episode today because today we're going to be discussing Star Wars The Force Awakens.
So special.
Now, I want to put up a disclaimer for everybody out there that's listening. This is going to be a spoiler-filled discussion. So we are going to be discussing the movie as if you have already seen it with us, you've already sat down, you were in the theater with us watching it, and now we're discussing it like best friends should, because you always should discuss Star Wars with friends. So
Absolutely.
That was beautiful, Taylor.
exactly.
Like holding off Chipotle for half an hour.
Exactly. Holding Chipotle in your hand while you talk to Ian over the phone.
Staring at the burrito upstairs back longingly.
Exactly. All right. So we'll go ahead and get started then.
Right in it.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll start about what are some of the things we liked about the film. So we'll give our positives, and then we'll kind of go into some negatives at some point, and then we'll just go ahead and summarize our thoughts in kind of a short closing thing.
And then rate it on our ZeroHP 20-point scale.
Yeah, so
not patented.
So we'll do the whole numbers and then 0.5 and everything like that. And then, so let's go ahead and start. Ian, what were some of the positives you thought about Star Wars The Force Awakens?
Well, I mean, there's a lot, because it was a really good movie. And I guess that'd be the first thing I would say. Like, obviously, we're ridiculous Star Wars fans. Like, we're probably about as hardcore as is out there, just about. Really.
As you get.
But the first thing that struck me, like, hours after I'd seen it, is that despite some of the negatives, like, even if you were to take Star Wars out of it, it's actually a really good movie. The script is really well written. The pacing is pretty much perfect. We get to know all of the characters in really well, without a lot of exposition. Like it's a really good 2-hour, 15-minute film, like structurally, which I think is really important. Because like I just feel like it's bringing in a lot of new people. There's going to be people who are like, oh yeah, I've seen Star Wars, or I haven't seen Star Wars, and you could obviously you want to see the other movies first, but I think anyone would enjoy this film. J.J. Abrams really brings it in. So that leads into my second thing. I'm not really getting into the Star Wars stuff right now because that's just a pot of, it's a can of worms.
Yeah, it really is.
I know we'll get into all the Star Wars conversation. The second thing for me was, again, with Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote this script with Abrams. He's back and he's writing Star Wars films, and you can tell it's really, really good. Yes. The comedy in it.
Yeah.
The perfectly placed. I mean, he knows when to get serious. But, I mean, that theater, which was jam-packed full, everyone was busting out laughing. I was crying in laughter at some point, which is not something... I mean, Star Wars has always had, like, funny moments or, like, cute moments, but, I mean, it felt like Star Trek a little bit in the best of ways.
Right, and it wasn't see, one of the things I thought going into the movie is it had the potential to be too much of like a yuck comedy kind of thing. But I thought they hit it really well. Like you were saying. Like it was perfectly peppered in there to where it didn't feel kind of forced or it didn't feel like it didn't feel like a Marvel movie where it's just quips everywhere kind of
Joss
thing.
Whedon
script,
which I love you, Joss Whedon, but
different total atmosphere.
Totally different. You can't. I mean, Star Wars is, and I don't mean this to say like the word, it's epic. I mean, Star Wars is an epic.
Yeah,
it's a space odyssey poem epic. So you need
Lucas
to know.
Himself described it as a soap opera.
George Lucas wrote like the story, not the script, but the story for Star Wars. Everyone is based on previous. It's like a mismatch of like King Arthur and mythology.
It's the heroes
right
journey.
It's like a classic story. I mean, he wasn't trying to like create a new original. It's like our version, our generation. I don't mean our generation like just us, but like modern civilization's mythology, like I was saying, like Iliad and Odyssey, that's what the Greeks told. That was their Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think it's really cool that we're able to keep that kind of reverence. It has those moments of just grand space opera, you know.
Right.
But at the same time, it can go down to such a human level where I was like, you know, Finn. I fucking love Finn. We'll get into all that, but just, you know, you're laughing, you're crying, and you're into the action. I mean, the way it's perfect. Like the pacing is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So that's kind of the film parts. Like I didn't want to go dive into like the Star Wars stuff because that to me is almost you can kind of split that two apart.
Exactly. Alrighty. So what were some of your positives, Alyssa? Give us your rundown.
I think I might touch a little more on the Star Wars part of it, not go into too much detail.
Go for it.
I would talk about the film part of it, but I share all the same sentiments. The only thing I would add is that so many people hated the prequels, which is kind of understandable in a way, but they have their merits. And I think one of those merits was the visual aspect of the prequels. They really brought that universe to life in a lot of different ways. And while I respect the originals more because a lot of it was tangible, Yoda was really there. Mm-hmm. Whether he was a puppet or not, he was there. Just the vast beauty of the first three movies was incredible. And I think that's something I really like about Force Awakens is that they combine the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Totally
They have the visuals of
There's plenty of CGI, lots of CGI.
Yeah, they have the visual stunningness of the first three movies, but then they have like the authenticity, I feel, of the original films.
Still more practical effects in this movie than in pretty much any other movie I've seen of a similar style.
Right. I think so.
But to that end, it was the same thing. I'm so glad we got John Williams back to do the score. It was just, it was incredible.
It was brilliant.
He brought in some new stuff, but really touched on the originals.
Yeah, I mean, there's no like new hummable ones, like or at least that I heard.
No, yeah.
You'll have to watch it like.
Well, I want to see it a lot more in theaters. But yeah, I mean, there was a new score and it was exciting when it opened up and there was new music.
It was, yeah.
Brand original John Williams music. He's 83 years old, by the way.
So. Yeah, he's got to make those. Got to make those new scores fast because
he seems like a relatively healthy man.
As long as whoever picks it up after him, just don't let it be Danny Elfman. Love you, Danny Elfman, but don't fucking touch Star Wars for the love of God. Okay, just don't.
Yeah, just stick to Oingo Boingo.
Just do what you're doing with all your Tim Burton films. That's fine.
Not to get too off schedule. We'll get right back on it. But someone I would recommend would be Jeremy Soule, who wrote the original
Kingdom of Heaven, right?
No, Jeremy Soule wrote the all the original tracks for Star Wars Knights of the Republic, which sounded like Star Wars music, but it was 100% original.
Definitely.
I think it would be cool. Anyway, I don't mean to get off track there.
Yeah,
it would be awesome.
Some other positives for me were definitely the new characters that we got. Finn was just incredible.
Yeah.
I want to see
classic,
so much
right?
more.
They're classic. They're right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
All three of them.
Finn was he's like my new favorite thing
Me
in
too.
the universe. Like, I want to see him.
He's my favorite character.
I want him to be my new Harrison Ford, and I want him to go on, not just be stuck with Star Wars for the rest of his life.
Like Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Or, I want him to go on and create all these amazing new films, and I want to just follow him and see all the adventures that
John
he's going to go
Boyega,
on.
just apart from Finn, he's such a cool guy. Like,
so chill.
I agree.
So chill. Same with Rey. I'm so ecstatic that we have a strong female character. Same with Finn. I'm so glad we actually have a black character in the lead that isn't just a side note like Lando was. And as amazing as Lando was.
Lando's great, but he wasn't like a main, or like even Mace Windu, who was cool and capable, but he wasn't a main character.
Yeah. So I love that we have that with Finn, and then same with Daisy. I love that she came in and
brand new. That's a Star Wars tradition.
She brought in, this whole new badassery to it, because as awesome as Leia was and as cool as, she was, and, she led an army and she was a badass princess, Padme was okay.
She could have been,
Padme had potential. I mean, she was
Natalie Portman's a great actress.
Right. She was a diplomat, and I loved that, she knew what she wanted and what she was doing, but then she just got a little too Annie.
The script betrayed
to me,
actress.
she was kind of like, her badassness didn't come from like what she did, like action-wise.
No,
I thought she was a badass in the way. Yeah, she was very much for her people. Like, she was like, I don't want to let my people die. I don't want to discuss this in a committee while my people die.
She delivers one of my favorite lines in all of Star Wars.
I know what you're going to say.
From episode 3. And so this is how Liberty dies, man. That part is
with
like...
thunderous applause.
You got it. I was like, oh, that's a great line. Good job, Lucas.
But I love that Rey comes in and she's, this just badass mechanic, and she, knows how to fly ships, and she can kick ass, and she knows how to, raid things, and she's like my new girl crush right now. She's amazing.
She is awesome, man.
And, they didn't have to, not that Star Wars has ever done this, but I just mean, for Zero HP, since we always talk about games, just to kind of quickly tie it to games, she didn't have to have a, triple D tits hanging out with, you know what I mean? Like, we don't need...
Makeup face.
And again, like, that's fine in a game like Dead or Alive or whatever, but when you're trying to tell me a story, like, and if you want me to take this character seriously...
She almost had this, like, girlish charm, but she was still so much of a woman. But there was almost like this...
Kind of reminded me of Evie from Assassin's Creed, actually.
There was like this... No, there was more of this, like, naivety to her in this amazing way.
Naivety.
Like, she seemed like a child.
Sheltered.
Yeah.
Like, because she comes from this world that, like... The only thing, at least from what we've seen, all the things that she knows how to do is, salvage stuff, She knows how to barter, I guess, with that one alien guy, like 2 rations, whatever.
Maybe that's why her and Finn got along so well so quickly, because they're both, like, totally not really...
They're sheltered.
Social.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know anything about anything, because he's just been a stormtrooper his whole life. We find out that's the new thing. They stuck with that.
Right.
With, like, the whole extended universe thing. I read a book that was about stormtroopers, or at least there was a portion about stormtroopers, after the clone, that virus had killed off all the, like, most of the clones.
Right.
And they had to rely on people. They were, like, Spartans, like, from birth.
Yeah, pretty much.
Warfare and mental conditioning and all that, where they're just brainwashed to the point where they're, like, almost like robots.
That rations guy, on a side note, totally made me think of, like, Oliver Twist and...
I know, right?
May I have some more?
Yeah, I don't know why. I just really thought of that guy.
60 portions.
I was like, oh shit! Like, that's a lot of...
baby A!
That's what I was getting to next after Ray.
Sorry, go.
I already knew I loved him before the movie even came out, but BB-8 is just as adorable as I knew he was going to be, and I just want to squeeze him and love him, and maybe that's just the girl in me.
No, I want to too. I have no shame. Like, I love him so much. And I think that's like the quintessential part of like what we're talking about, as far as I've never been the person who's like that hipster guy who's like, CGI is so overused, man. Like, it's really important to have it, but like that's where the practical effects come in. He was a real working droid, and that you could the difference, the way the actors were with him. Like, they loved him because he was this.
I want to playfully play like hacky sack with him, like bounce him around on my feet, like, but don't like totally destroy him.
No, but I just want to hang out with him. Like,
yeah,
he's just so much personality. Just like R2.
It was great.
It didn't feel like they were copying R2.
Yeah,
he had his own personality.
Totally agree.
He was like the little brother of R2.
Yeah, he was scared of everything. It was really funny.
Pretty much.
Those are pretty much my positives.
So, how about you, Taylor, man?
So, we'll go into some of my positives. First of all, I just thought, like you were saying, Ian, like, it's definitely just not even just a good Star Wars movie. It's a great movie in general. And I think that for Star Wars fans and non-Star Wars fans alike, I think when you sit in that theater, you're going to feel like a kid again. And that's kind of what, like, the rush of nostalgia I got of just seeing like the crawl again on like a movie theater screen. Like, it doesn't even compare. Like, if you're a Star Wars fan, you have to see this movie, whether you're original trilogy enthusiast, prequel trilogy, like, you have to see it. And I think that's one of the big positives that they brought back to these movies, is it really feels like Star Wars is back now. And it feels like there's this living, breathing, like, lived in world again that we're seeing 30 years later, and it almost feels like it feels lived in and everything, but it also feels like new. Like, it feels like the old and the new, and they blend that so well together that it's amazing. And characters were awesome. I love our new set of characters.
I can't wait to follow them.
Finn is great, man. He provides pretty much every like facet of that you'd want in a good character, and he's really the other characters are really good, but Finn's character actually has like an arc.
He's really does. Absolutely.
He totally comes full circle. He starts out as a stormtrooper who's very hesitant to get involved, and he finally sees what happens when like war really hits you.
Yeah, because we find out later in the movie that was his first mission. Yeah,
and he, you have the stormtrooper guy that dies next to him and like wipes his hand on his face, and there's blood.
Yeah,
and which is crazy to see in a Star Wars movie. I didn't think they'd actually have blood.
This is a PG-13 movie, and
that's probably why they made it PG-13, was just for that one part.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Kylo.
Well, and the stormtroopers murdering everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't really show it.
But it still happened right there. I
Yeah.
mean, they were firing, and you heard people screaming and stuff. Like,
It's pretty dark.
pretty dark stuff. The Empire is legit. Oh, well, we'll get to that.
Is
That's
awesome.
one of my things.
Yeah.
It's not the Empire anymore for the rest.
The First Order.
First
It's going to be
Order.
hard for me to not call them the Empire.
Yeah, it just overall it was awesome. I really love the characters. I love the settings. Like there's these new planets that we got that felt old but new at the same time.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember, other than Jakku, I don't really remember if there's the other names of the planets.
Elaine or Ilarain or something like that was
Yeah.
that second planet. Yeah, it's just going to take us time. I doubt people remembered what Hoth was called.
I must have not caught it. I don't know if they actually said the names, but I might have to go
The
back.
second one had a name. The third one, I think but they just mentioned it once. Like we've only seen the movie once. Like I said, I bet people in 1980 when people left Empire Strikes Back, they probably didn't remember the name of all the planets.
No, yeah, totally.
It's just gonna take time.
And how about even some of the villain characters? Like I really loved Kylo Ren.
Me too.
People who I feel like there was a lot of hesitation going into these movies. Like, is Kylo Ren going to be a good villain? Is he going to kind of capture that?
I just didn't know anything about him really, which was the point.
Yeah,
like that's why I wasn't buying like shirts with him, because I was like, I don't know if he's going to be like a badass. I don't know what his character was, and what he really was totally opposite of what I expected.
A psychopath. Yeah.
Conflicted. He was a human being.
He was a basket case.
He's not a Sith yet.
No.
He is a human being that's tortured and conflicted, and I think Adam Driver did such a great job. And we were talking, Alyssa and I were talking the whole time, like, we were trying not to talk, but we just got so excited about everything during the movie, we kept whispering to each other. And we both, like, whispered to each other at the same time, like, man, like, the way he portrays this immature, brattiness, like, it, for me, personally, in the prequels, Hayden Christensen's trying to do that was a little forced a little bit, like the lines, it's not fair, and he's throwing things in.
Well, like you were saying earlier too, with Kylo Ren, it's more like show, not tell.
Exactly, like
with the scenes where he's
told you that he was mad and babyish,
sad.
Whereas like when he was raging in that room with his saber, I felt the anger like off the screen, like heat. I was like, whoa, okay, like, this guy has got some major problems.
Definitely.
We gotta talk about that saber later too.
And I think that's because it's the beginning for him. Like, he was turned, but I think by episode 8 or 9 or whatever, he will be more like a Vader. He's gonna become.
He's gonna come into his own, like, power wise, and I think Rey is going to. I think all the characters will.
Once the darkness like truly takes hold and he becomes more powerful and is able to control his all of his emotions like Vader did, and he will become much more calculating and killer. Like, right, he's really young.
Yeah,
he's got to be what, 20, 23, like somewhere in like early 20s is my guess.
I'm guessing either 18 or 20. Like,
but that would have been, I think, of all the roles, that would have been the easiest role to mess up.
Yeah,
and I have to give all the props to J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan for writing a good script, and Adam Driver for an incredible performance.
Oh yeah, I think it really shows too, like, the ability of like J.J. Abrams as a director, because I feel like movie-wise, like, the director's biggest responsibility is to get great performances out of their actors. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you're definitely seeing an evolution of that, whereas, George Lucas wasn't a very good actor's director. He was just kind of like, well, say these lines.
Or a scriptwriter.
And then it would be like, how do I say this? I don't know what kind of
world builder.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how you can tell the difference. I mean, and again, I don't want anyone to think that I absolutely hate the prequels. They're Star Wars, and there's so much things I actually really do like them. But again, I always have tried to separate film from Star Wars.
Yeah.
I love the lore of prequel Star Wars as much as anything else. Mm-hmm. It's just that the films, as far as execution, weren't as good. I mean, there's just no way around that. And the reason, I think, is, as much as I love... people hate George Lucas now, which is just amazing to me, because he created all this and we love it so much. I'll never hate George Lucas.
Foolish.
But if you look at the difference between the original prequels and the original movies and the prequels, is script writing and direction. Script and direction are different with the originals, and George Lucas wrote and directed them. You can tell it's not as good.
One thing about these movies too, I had heard from, because I watch a couple other and listen to a couple other Star Wars podcasts and different shows and stuff. And one of the ones I was watching, so this isn't my words or anything.
Sure.
But one of the things one of the guys said that I was watching was that this new movie obviously has problems with it. It's not a perfect movie, like we say all the time about games. Like,
we'll get to it. There's no such thing as a perfect anything.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a perfect movie, perfect game, what have you.
Even if you give it a 10, it doesn't mean you're saying it's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the thing that was important that I thought he said was that this movie had regular movie problems wrong with it, as the prequel just had like Star Wars problems wrong with it.
It had both.
Yeah.
Prequels had both going on. Just this continuity stuff.
Right. So I thought that was kind of like an interesting thing to share. But overall, yeah, I really liked it. Characters were awesome. And
what did you think of Kylo Ren that we haven't touched on? Anything at all?
Oh, I think we're saving that until the next the negatives, right?
Well, is Kylo Ren a negative for you?
No, but I was going to mention it in my negatives, yeah.
Okay. You didn't think anything about Adam Driver's performance or anything?
Oh, no, that was wonderful. I completely... Again, it's kind of hard for me to touch on anything because you guys are covering what I feel.
Sorry. Yeah, we're beating you to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm purposefully going last every time. So just that way you guys can get your word out and,
You should have made him go last because he's just going to take everything.
I don't mean to. It's not on purpose.
No, we're fine.
It's like a dam, and you open the dam, and
we're all talking anyway. So I mean, it's cool. But that being said, let's go ahead and move into some of our negatives and just kind of share again what we thought could have been improved, what could have been done better, what you didn't like. Ian, what did you think?
How about you go first? Because I'm going to take what you have.
Okay.
I mean, as any true Star Wars fan would say, I'm mad because I didn't have like 18 hours of this movie. Like, I didn't want it to end. I just wanted to see more about this world that they expanded upon and know more about, Maz Kanata and know more about Kylo and Rey and just expand on everything and see these planets. And it obviously, that's my negative, is that it didn't go on forever, but that's not a fair negative. I don't know how I feel about their treatment of Captain Phasma. That was very disappointing.
Hugely.
As much of a fan as I am of Gwendolyn Christie, I was so stoked to hear that she was in this, and then it was just kind of like, well, here she is. Okay, bye.
10 lines.
What? That's it? That's all we get of her? Okay. So I'm hoping she comes back in the next film. I don't think she went down with the ship.
No, she didn't. They pushed her too hard in marketing.
I'm pretty sure she's going to show up in episode 8 and she'll have a more significant part in it. Because like I was saying earlier, I think her and Finn have a confrontation that needs to happen soon. And exactly. And I think that this confrontation needs to happen, and I think she'll definitely be in episode 8 for sure.
She just wasn't very, and no offense to her, but just her voice, she's not a very intimidating sounding person.
I thought she was kind of.
She looks intimidating, but then she's like, "Oh, well, let me lower the shields for you."
I thought she was actually really intimidating.
Oh, really?
Like the part where where Finn gets back from the mission and she's right behind him, just like, "What are you doing, FN?" Blah 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 blah. I was like, "Oh shit, jeez!" Like that taskmaster.
Maybe the reason I feel that way is because her one major role in the film was taking capture and turning the shields off for the resistance, and then getting thrown in a trash chute.
Yeah,
that's what she did.
I loved that though.
That was that line.
Is there a trash chute on there?
Finn. Yeah,
there is. That was awesome.
What else was I gonna say? Kylo Ren. So I completely agree that Adam Driver just did an amazing job bringing Kylo to life. And there's nothing against his performance as Kylo at all. My only thing is I feel like it's a little too Anakin. Like he's a little tantrum baby. Like that's how I felt when he started raging like that. I'm just like, get a hold of yourself. Stop being a child. Like you're acting like a child. But I think that's the point is in the next few, in the continuation and graduation of the next few films, we're gonna see him come out of that and turn into a more powerful figure. Mm-hmm. And he's gonna.
Yeah, I feel like he's a Padawan.
He
still feels like a Padawan.
He's the Sith equivalent. Yeah, he's like an adept or something.
Acolyte.
Like that. Acolyte.
So I mean, that was maybe that. I still don't know how I feel about his saber.
I like it. I now like it.
Yeah.
Well, especially since I learned what it is practically too. from J.J.
Well,
Abrams.
I know that they were saying the crossguard was based on the
Claymore.
event. They're talking about vent ports.
Yeah, he couldn't build. So according to, I think this was Abrams. I saw it on YouTube. They were talking about like why it was, and it is not a crossguard.
No, it's vent ports.
He couldn't. He's such a noob. He couldn't figure out how to build a lightsaber without it exploding.
Yeah.
And so he said, fuck it. And he drilled 2 holes into the side of it and put those little things on there, and the exhaust comes spitting out because he doesn't know how to build it.
How cool was that part, though, when him and Finn are having the battle and he, like, digs it into Finn's shoulder?
It's almost like a little flamethrower because it's not even a full beam. It's it's constantly...
It's flickering and it's very, like...
I like it. It's just different, and I appreciate it. Everything I liked about this, and this is kind of leading into my biggest negative, not to steal it from you because it's yours, I think, too, but... Like,
we'll discuss it overall.
Everything that's new and or different than any other Star Wars is my favorite thing about this. So Finn being a stormtrooper, ex-stormtrooper, I love that. Rey not being a Maul or a Vader, as much as I love those 2 characters.
You mean a Kylo being not a...
Oh, what did I say?
Rey.
You're Rey.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ren. I was thinking Ren. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Kylo Ren not being a Maul or Vader, like already at that point where he is a big baby and he's still learning and he's not unstoppable yet, which he might become. Like all those new, with his lightsaber, a kind of saber we've never seen. It's flickery. It's not perfect. It's got the crossguard thing with the I like everything about this movie that's different, and everything I didn't like was this is a clone copy of Episode 4.
Well, I mean, knowing that about the saber too, I think that just goes back to talking about who Kylo is as far as being
incomplete.
An acolyte, you said?
Acolyte.
Yeah,
Sith
acolyte.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that kind of goes back to if he had to build this saber because he didn't know how to do it proper and he had to just janky ridge it together to make it work. It just goes back to him being basically unstable.
Yeah. It's all...
Yeah, that's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
The lightsaber kind of reflects him as a character.
It's same, just like Rey, that saber
really
kind of
does.
reflects her. It was just a calm blue. She got her Zen, and she found the Force, which I thought was kind of weird that she picked it up like that.
Which is kind of stupid, yeah.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into that here in a second. That's I was thinking I was going to give you that one, since we each had kind of a big one.
Yeah, I'll lay out my prediction.
But my biggest thing for me, negative-wise, for this is, like, if you're a big Star Wars fan, like, this is Episode 4.
Basically.
Yeah.
Beat by beat by beat. The droid gets the secret plans and or map to Luke Skywalker plans for Death Star. Goes off into under desert planet, finds a young character who longs to escape, meets a rogue-like guy with Finn, not a rogue necessarily, but meets a guy, they get off the planet. I mean, it is all the way, even to the point where they're talking about it in the movie, like, well, does this Death Star have any exhaust ports? Like,
yeah.
They even bring it up because they just, like...
That was actually one point in the movie when they were talking about, well, there's a part of it right here where the shield, and they brought it up as, like, a structural weakness. I literally crossed my arms in the theaters, and I was like, all right, like, again.
So I actually...
That's what I got to that point when they were attacking it, and freaking Oscar Isaac, Poe Dameron, they flies in. He's like, "Cover me!" As they go into a trench.
Yeah.
And they do a trench run. I rolled my eye. I was like, "Oh my god, a trench run!"
So I respect that. I get that. I'm right there with you. I felt the same way. But I actually had a really interesting conversation with a guy at the store today, which was funny. Because I don't know about you guys, but it's just everywhere I go. Have you seen the new movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Have you seen it yet? It's like
it's a
just
cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible.
Dragon Age.
At any rate, I thought the conversation that I had with this guy. Sorry, I was trying to collect my thoughts. The conversation that I had with this guy was he pointed out that Lucas not only talked about these as being a soap opera, but he also mentioned it's kind of like an Iliad, a poem, like this ballad that's going to repeat itself. And you can kind of see that with the prequels that came out. You can see how in so many ways they kind of actually mirrored the original 3, and I think that's what we're seeing now. And at the same note, as horrible as it was that it was pretty much a carbon copy of 4, excuse me, as terrible as it was that it was a carbon copy of 4, they're bringing it to a new generation, and most people would agree that A New Hope was one of the best movies out of all of them. So to bring that into the new generation with that kind of feeling
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, I get that. I just don't like. Even as if you're an 8 or 9-year-old kid who loves Star Wars, like you've already seen A New Hope.
But my problem is only if they continue to do this. That's the issue. It's fine they did it with this one, but if they continue to copy with the following, that's my issue.
I think the biggest, it was just safe. That was the thing about it. It was a safe go. Like you could kind of almost see the. Like once you could see kind of like the A New Hope kind of thing start to come into it, you're like, okay, this is like a movie that like J.J. Abrams has made masterfully well. It's awesome.
It kind of got the
but it's
Star Trek treatment.
Yeah, it's very safe though. Like it's like we didn't want to deviate too far away from like what like an original trilogy would have been because that's the one everybody likes. Mm-hmm. So you can definitely get that feeling if you're a seasoned Star Wars fan and you're coming into this movie. Looking for something different, I'd say you don't
get
have
new characters.
Yeah,
that's where the difference is.
You get new characters and everything, but it's gonna feel very similar to A New Hope, and you're gonna recognize it. You know.
Yeah, I remember during like the base attack when things started to go awry a little bit for the Resistance. Alyssa and I were like, okay, so this is where we're gonna get the twist. So this is where they're gonna go. Okay, now you can identify that we've been doing this New Hope thing. But now we're going to turn on its head a little bit, and the First Order will actually repel the attack and set up for a battle later on. And then they won, and they destroyed the Starkiller base. It's like, oh, never mind. We could have predicted the whole thing because we knew exactly what it was because it's the exact same.
Even the like, and I think the biggest part of it was like I could have done with everything else, like the droid getting the plans, blah blah blah.
Sure, me too.
This and that, but I thought the biggest like way that they killed off Han Solo was very, very A New Hope. Like, put those scenes together. Mm-hmm. Han is Obi-Wan getting killed, and then Luke/Rey is like, no, and they all start firing, and they get really mad. And no, we have to escape. Like, don't worry about them, you know. And it was like, it was very, very predictable. Like if you had seen Star Wars before, you knew it was happening. Like there wasn't a shadow of doubt.
Though I think all three of us were predicting Han was going to die well before we ever saw anything from this movie.
Right.
Like because
same with,
Harrison Ford has been begging to kill off Han Solo for decades.
Yeah.
You know, not only with predicting that, but predicting. I'm just going to call him Jason.
Yeah,
and I keep calling him Jason.
I know. Ben Solo?
Ben Solo.
Which you have a little thing about that.
Well, it was I just thought it was kind of cool because in the old expanded universe, Ben Skywalker was Luke's kid.
Right.
And Jason Solo, Jaina Solo, and Anakin Solo were the Leia and Han's children. So
if you have seen the movie,
that was interesting.
And that's actually where Chewbacca died too, is when Anakin got killed. Because Chewbacca... That was
the Yahuzavam invasion.
Yeah.
Chewbacca got crushed by a moon.
Yeah, they were crushing the moon because it was taken over by the Yahuzavam.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure it was there in that.
He was like protecting Anakin in that scene, though.
I don't even
and then Anakin died there.
They crashed the planet, though, or asteroid or whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, that's all gone now. Anyways.
Yeah, whatever. It's not canon.
And Chewbacca survived, which is awesome. But what was I saying? I don't remember what I was saying now. I don't remember. We'll come back to it.
We were pretty much all just talking about how it's really A New Hope 2.0.
If you're if you're a fan, if you've been reading Extended Universe and you've been like looking at like visual books and stuff that have a lot of drawings, Adam Driver, like the way he had his hair and the way he looks a lot like a lot of the art you'll see for Jason. And I don't know if they did that on purpose.
Well, same with Jaina. Rey looked totally like Jaina.
I thought it was kind of cool. But we don't know that Rey is.
No, we're thinking that.
No, I don't think it's Han or Leia.
Yeah.
But
they're definitely alluding to that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
They're respecting the fact that that source material was there, and a lot of people put a lot of work into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, that's kind of just all of our negatives. So I guess we'll just kind of go into like a.
You didn't have any others, Taylor?
What about Rey? And like the sudden force powers.
Yeah.
The ability to use a lightsaber.
Yeah, that part I was kind of.
It bothered me while I was watching it, at least.
I had a negative with it, but it's also because I have my own theory for it, and I have like my own like headcanon thing going on. So it was
to justify it.
Yeah, it was halfway justified for me, but yeah, I could totally see as somebody who was going into it like never having seen a Star Wars movie as being critical about it would have been like, oh, like. Rey is a very like Mary Sue character. Mm-hmm. It's just like she's good at everything automatically. She's going through the hero's journey and she kind of just like picks up these skills out of nowhere and suddenly learns how to do it. But I think that I think that personally she's had training beforehand, but doesn't really remember.
Like as a small child?
Yeah, I think I guess we'll go into my conspiracy theory hour.
I want to hear it for sure.
But like my whole justification for it was that like somewhere in the movie, if I'm remembering this right, I've seen it twice now, so it's kind of like I think I would know what they were saying. But
you've seen it one more time than I have.
Yeah, so basically, at one point in the movie, Han tells Rey and Finn that when Luke was building up the Jedi Order again, he had two students at first, a boy and a girl, and one of them was Ben Solo, which Kylo Ren.
Right.
But I think that the girl might have been Rey, which I think is Luke's daughter, and the reason why is because Luke started the training, but had Snoke come in, and then like he kind of affected Kylo Ren and like seduced him to the dark side. And feeling like a failure and like feeling like his daughter was in trouble.
And it sounded like there were multiple. And dude, oh my God, you're right. Because remember when she touches Anakin's saber and she has the
flashbacks
of Kylo and all those dead bodies, and he's killed. Because remember, Han was saying Luke had a lot of students.
Yeah,
at one point.
I'm pretty sure his students became the Knights of Ren.
The ones that survived, and he killed the rest of them.
Yeah, he went into exile because he felt like he had failed. He tried to start up this new Jedi.
Why would she see that?
Yeah. So I think what he did was
tell a disgruntled coworker about that, and maybe that'll calm her down.
So I think what he did was he wiped her memory and left her on Jakku as kind of like I don't want her to know anything about the Force. It's all gone. I'm laying it to rest because.
And we know, and now I know again. We have to say this so much with Star Wars now. I know it doesn't count anymore. Oh, I can't. Never mind. I can't say it.
What?
I almost spoiled Knights of the Republic for you, Alyssa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, well, we're talking about a spoiler discussion.
We know there is precedent for things of that nature.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So that's just kind of my theory on it. So I think that like the title of The Force Awakening is kind of referring to Rey as she's reawakening to remember she has these powers. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure as the episodes go on, 8 through 9 or whatever, she'll slowly regain her memories of like what had happened to her and like how she learned these powers, because the way that she fights Kylo on the snow planet Death Star thing,
Star Killer.
Yeah, you can. I have a feeling that they've had a match like that before, and I don't know. It was just kind of like rang true to me.
Just didn't know it. Wow.
So
dude, you're gonna get.
When they showed the flashback of her, she was a tiny kid.
Yeah, she was.
Well, she would have been perfect age for Jedi training now at that point.
True.
Interesting.
Because even at 9 years old, Anakin was too old to train.
True.
So she must have been younger.
Brainwash him early, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So in your theories, we're still going with Snoke as Plagueis, right?
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's definitely not confirmed even now, but I have a feeling he's definitely not the same. He's not immune like not immune, but the race Mune,
right? The
banking clan guys.
Yeah,
he's not that race. Yeah,
yeah. Well, I guess his head wasn't big enough.
He looked nothing like.
Yeah. He was too big.
I
don't know if that was just a
hologram.
It was. They could have made it bigger than he.
I don't think he was that big.
No, it was a hologram to make him look bigger than he was. Because I remember when we first saw him, and he's like this huge, like 2-story tall guy.
I was like, what the?
I was like,
that's not Plagueis.
Well, yeah, I was like, this is definitely not a Star Wars race that's unlike anything we've seen.
I guess I was thinking you're right that it's not the same. He's not immune. That's what
he's not.
I know that
he's not immune.
Immune.
Yeah.
Because the face is just different. But I was thinking if the head wasn't so much.
Well, he was scarred though.
You could see that huge scar on his face when he got into the thing with Sidious. Maybe took that top part off.
Or force lightning melted his face or something like that.
Yeah. So that's. I can't wait to find out. And they just kept showing that staff over and over and over.
It's gotta be.
Yeah, there's no way it's not.
Which was weird too, because if you've seen like principal photography for the movie, it showed there's pictures of Andy Serkis holding a staff while he's like talking, and we saw no kind of like placement staff or.
At some point when he was sitting on his throne in the what's the word?
Hologram.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When he was sitting there, I thought I saw him sitting there holding a staff at one point. Is that just me?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember.
I just thought he was kind of sitting like he kind of sat like Abraham Lincoln style, like at the Lincoln Monument, and then
he does look like that.
I don't remember. I've seen it twice, and I don't even remember that. So
there's just
maybe
so much in our
I have to see it a third time now.
So much in our brains.
Which I'm sure I will, but yeah.
Another just really quick, because I know we kind of probably have to wrap it up.
We're at 40 minutes. We're good.
40 minutes? Okay. Just an observation that I had that I liked a lot was, two things, but they lead right into one another. So for Rey and Kylo, that I really am intrigued about is, one, did you guys feel like both of them, obviously, well, it's really obvious with Rey because we didn't know anything about her being, in the past, about her being like powerful or whatever, but like all throughout the movie, Kylo and Rey like are so obviously like overtly attuned to the Force, like very like they're fucking naturals.
Yeah.
That moment when Kylo's just like looks at the camera, he's like, Han's here. It's like, gee. Like,
that's one thing about Kylo is he was super Force strong.
Yeah, like he doesn't necessarily. I think he's like stronger than he can even control. Like, whenever he gets emotional, like when that one guy was telling him that they ran away. And there was a girl, and he's like, the guy just gets lifted up and fly. I mean, I was like, damn, like this is like potent Force ability. Like I don't even think he understands how powerful he is.
Makes sense that he's the.
That's why Plagueis. Well, make that, and it would make sense that Plagueis found it. Plagueis won. He's like, whoa, this kid is clearly a cut above all the other Jedi that were in that academy.
I hope we get to see the other like Knights of Ren at some point, if they're not dead. I mean, which I'm sure they're not. But I feel like those other guys that were standing in the rain.
Yeah, we don't know jack shit about them.
I wonder.
I think that's gonna be next.
They were just standing in the rain. Like they made that. Like they cut that into the trailers, and then like that's all there is in the whole movie was that.
Yeah, it was pretty much that. But I hope we get to see those other dudes because I think it would be cool to like because they all looked like they had different weapons.
Yeah,
too.
they weren't blasters and vibroblades and stuff. Yeah,
bowcaster.
Oh god, I love the stormtroopers. Were totally like.
Badass.
The Empire, not just stormtroopers, TIE fighters. We're not running. Oh, yeah, I know. It's hard to do that, but TIE fighters weren't run like that part when the Millennium Falcon takes a sharp left turn before it runs into the wrecked Star Destroyer, and the TIE fighters go whoa, and they miss it.
Yeah,
like I could feel J.J. Abrams being like, "Look, I'm gonna make TIE fighters and stormtroopers badasses," because that bugged him. I know that bugged him. Because cool. They flew through the wreckage.
I would have liked to have seen Kylo Ren piloting.
Maybe
and like in a Darth Vader-esque like I have you now like kind of thing where like he's like a good pilot too from his grandfather.
Yep.
Like I don't know. It would have been cool to see.
Yeah.
It would explain why Rey is such a good pilot like that.
Yep. Yeah.
She got it from her.
No kidding.
From
there's
her
a lot
father.
of like kind of obvious parallels there that they want to. And there's nothing that's like really sly about anything in this movie. Like their parallels are like dead on. Like light, dark, light.
She's good at fixing things. She's always been good at fixing things.
Yep, exactly. Like I know, dude. They throw it right in your face, but which is it's always been obvious like that. It's never trying to be like, it's never trying to be too off kilter or anything like that or abstract. It's very, very straightforward.
Yeah.
There's some new force powers too. There
is. What I was going to bring up too when we were talking about Kylo Ren, how about the beginning part where the dude shoots, or when Poe shoots the laser blast at him,
he's just holding it there.
He stops it midair.
He stops it and then he doesn't even pay any attention to it.
Yeah.
He's able to, he has to concentrate. He does. The Force, whenever anyone uses the Force, you have to concentrate on it. Yeah. He's just acting like it's no big deal.
And it's like, I wonder if Luke had taught him that. And I wonder if now we'll see Luke kind of dabble in both sides of the Force because
become a gray Jedi.
Yeah, definitely a gray Jedi or something like that. Because for some reason that Force power seems like kind of nefarious almost. Like it's not as overt as Force lightning nefarious,
right.
But it's got a weird dark sidey vibe to it.
You can tie someone to a wall and shoot them and then hold it right there in their face or whatever. And you could use it for pretty bad stuff. But you can use it to save, stop a bolt and get someone out of the way.
That's true, yeah.
It's just kind of there's just or when Kylo freezes her,
stops her in place.
She gets stuck, and they're stuck in these weird, the whole mind reading thing. That's all new. I haven't really seen. Like, he just grabs thoughts out of people's heads.
What about when Kylo Ren is when he's interrogating Rey, and instead of him looking into her mind, she reads his mind instead. I was like, like mind blown. Like, oh, she's like, you want to be just like Darth Vader, and he gets all like pissed off. Oh, that was awesome.
But his like sort of like monologue just prior to that, when he was like reading her thoughts and it was bugging her.
Yeah,
that's when I was like, okay, Adam Driver's awesome.
Yeah, he was
like,
pretty
that was
awesome.
The moment for me that solidified him as a character I really liked.
How about Hux? Hux was pretty cool too. He had like the Grand Moff Tarkin vibe to him.
That speech.
That speech.
He's definitely looked at a couple Hitler speeches to learn that one. It's just like he was like the opposite, like Braveheart, essentially. Like, we will take their freedom. Like, he was awesome. I think we'll see a lot more of him in the other episodes too, because I wanted to see a little bit more from him. I mean, both him and Phasma.
This movie was just set up.
What was that other movie that Hux was in that you were just telling me about?
Ex Machina.
Yeah, him and Oscar Isaac were in Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
I actually thought at first when we were when casting information had first come out, I thought that Domhnall Gleeson, the guy who plays Hux, was going to be Luke's son. Because like he definitely has the red hair. Yeah, he looks like what like Luke and Mara Jade's son would have been.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I was like so ready for that. I was like, that'd be cool. But
I don't know if we'll see Mara Jade.
I forgot that's who he got with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah.
But now
she might make an appearance in Rebels.
She didn't die, did she? I thought she died.
No,
I don't even remember.
She did.
Huh?
Nope.
I don't know. I didn't get far enough to ever see that, so I don't know.
In the Thrawn trilogy? She was in the Thrawn trilogy.
She was in a lot of other stuff. I mean,
but she doesn't die in the Thrawn trilogy, though.
No, not in the Thrawn trilogy. She doesn't die.
So I mean, like, final thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Final thoughts. I thought it was an awesome movie. Brings us back to what Star Wars really is, and it captures the feeling. Has really the same beats as A New Hope, but I feel like you can look past it at some points, and then you kind of forgive it.
I can definitely look past it.
Yeah, and you can forgive it as a great movie, and I'm sure it won't be it won't be the last time I'll see it. So
the new characters for me is the biggest deal.
Yeah,
like, of all the things, yes, the Empire, the First Order is better. That was a big deal for me, but it's these 3 new main characters in. And I know Plagueis is we think he's Plagueis, but Kylo, Finn, my personal favorite, and Rey. Like, I fell in love with all 3 of them, and they can build a trilogy on those characters, and that's what was most important to me. Is like,
I think that's why they killed Han off, is because we had to pass it on to Rey.
Yeah.
Yeah. We couldn't just continue on with these movies, just always having Han Solo and Leia.
I think if I was sitting in the room and like I was directing like what I think they should do, I would have been like, can we just maybe like kill like Carrie Fisher, because she's not that great of an actress. We can
she's not anymore. She isn't.
We can kind of do without her.
But she wasn't as like central to like the action as Han was, and that's why.
Actually, I totally forgot. She was probably one of my negatives of the whole thing.
Yeah, go over real quick. We're not at an hour yet.
No, well, and even if we do, we'll go a little bit over, maybe if not. But I thought there was one scene too specifically with her where I was like, I kind of had like an eye roll where she was like general exposition, like, no, he's our son. Like, do you remember when Snoke, blah blah? And I was like, how do you guys know about Snoke? Like, I thought I was totally taken aback at like how Han and Leia knew who Snoke was. Like, I thought he was going to be way more mysterious behind the curtain.
Apparently, well, that's a fake name though. They probably don't even know what he looks like. They just probably heard of this name, this Supreme Leader Snoke, and
I just thought that part was especially jarring to me. That
is weird. Like, I didn't even think about that.
It was very exposition heavy, and it was like, I don't know how you would know all of this. Like,
they should have just been like when our son went to the dark side.
Yeah, and left it at that.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, and I guess it's been a problem for Star Wars in general. Is like the overt language of dark and light, because I don't feel like it should be that like
black and white.
That was one of the things about this movie too. Is
dark, like the way she was saying like he can come back from darkness. It's like okay, Destiny, cool down the darkness, all right. Like,
well, that was one of the things about her too. Is that about the movie itself? Was I thought in this new, and maybe it is. I mean, we can't judge it off of one movie, but at least from Episode 7 standards, I thought there was going to be a lot more graying of like what's good and what's bad.
Double down on the opposite side of that.
We are going to see that in the next few movies, though. Like we were just talking about.
Finn's very existence shows that stormtroopers are still human.
Well,
Right.
I mean, you were just, even earlier when you were talking about Luke and being, conflicted with that and maybe seeing a little bit more and becoming like a gray Jedi. I can see that coming in the next couple of films.
Yeah. Or even with, even with Kylo Ren, like, I don't think that during that scene right before Han gets killed, when he agrees to come with him, I don't think he's lying.
No.
I think he's almost like the way the Force or like the way that the corruption from, I keep wanting to say Plagueis. I guess we shouldn't say that, right? Like
No, you gotta say Snoke. Yeah.
From Snoke, like the corruption from his like natural whatever tendency of evilness or darkness or whatever. I think it's I feel like he almost has split personality.
He's bipolar.
Because when he said that, when he was like, okay, I think it was totally legitimate. He dropped the helmet and he like started to cry a little bit, and he like what kind of like evil like Dark Lord is like tell your own dad that you're torn apart, and I don't know. I just feel like he was
just that evil.
He could be that manipulative.
I just had a small thought.
I feel like he's that conflicted.
What if he is not controlled fully, but he's being kind of brainwashed by Snoke?
Oh, that's not
because if you think about it, Snoke's old apprentice had all this free will, and look where it got him.
Shabam.
He got killed by his apprentice. So maybe
we don't know that about Snoke.
Yeah, we don't know about that. But I mean, like
if we're going with the
it's so hard not to.
If we are going with the Plagueis theory, I think that like maybe
he needs someone who's a little more susceptible. Well, Anakin was very susceptible to being controlled, and manipulated. That's the kind of person.
Well, I'm thinking more like he's directly being like brainwashed. Maybe.
Right, like almost like controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that wouldn't make sense too, because he worships Darth Vader's helmet and says,
"No,
I can't go back to the light."
And he fights with himself, and he's angry, and I just feel like
mental. He's a basket case.
Yeah, I feel like he's
bloody mental.
And I knew that he was going to kill him then, but at the same time, I was like, Han reached him, like he got there, and he was like. Started crying like he wants to go home,
Yeah.
And then it just all came back to him, and he was like, "No, wait, I can't. Probably fear. Through fear. I mean, fear leads to the dark side, right?
Yeah.
Through fear of Snoke's retribution
suffering.
For leaving back, he's like, no, I can't. I mean, if I were to betray Snoke, like, what would he do to me? And out of pure just fear, he kills him instead, and then goes back. So
could be, yeah.
I don't know.
How come he doesn't harbor such ill will towards his mom?
He probably does.
She wasn't there.
I don't know. It just felt like a lot of daddy issues.
Well, it sounded like Han took off.
Well, yeah, he did, because he went back to smuggling.
Yeah.
To get away from.
Yeah, but that was after Ben left.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, it was after.
Yeah,
it was after he had
how
been.
old
they
he
dealt
was.
with it in their different ways, him and Leia.
She went to become more of a military like general, and he went off and started smuggling again. Because I remember when they come together again, it's the first time they've seen each other in like quite a while, and it's like, oh, I went back to smuggling and doing what I do best is what he said. So
deal with things.
Why do they call it the Resistance? Because the Republic is a thing. Why don't they just call it the New Republic?
No, yeah, I think that maybe this is like one of the things I was going to bring up too is I think this might be like the Resistance and the First Order might be actually outside of even like the governments of the other planets, because they overtly bring up the Republic.
They do.
Like what? Like where's the Republic?
They make
ships?
They make it sound like the Republic, the wing of Republic's military is the Resistance. Like, why are you calling it that then?
Well, I mean,
it's called the New Republic Army.
Yeah,
I didn't get that.
No, it kind of makes sense. I mean, they're kind of honoring that fight that they had in a way.
That's true.
Bringing the Republic back. We're honoring that we had a resistance to fight that evil, so we're going to continue honoring that by calling it the Resistance.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I want to read a book or play a game or see a spin-off movie. I need to know how we got from Empire to destroyed Empire to clearly incredibly powerful and resourceful First Order.
I think
you don't just build that Star
Killer
Killer
base.
30 years.
I think the First Order that we see in Episode 7 too is only going to be a fraction of like how big it actually is.
Yeah.
Because Benicio del Toro is signed on to be a villain in Episode 8.
Ooh.
So I think that like going into conspiracy theory here again. I think he could be Thrawn. Ooh. And Thrawn is really the military leader behind it all.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
The military leader to Snoke's like
Because like in that trilogy, or in that trilogy of books, and in all of the EU, like they were called the Remnant, the Imperial Remnant, and they weren't like a huge.
Maybe that'll be his band.
The Empire was like almost like the rebels in there. They were just bands of like Star Destroyers, just like clinging on to what was. But the First Order is not like that. They're organized. They clearly have tons of resources, and they're big. They're really big.
Is it possible that?
So how do we get there?
Is it possible that Thrawn might even be like a third entity, like against both?
Like a third faction?
It's
possible, but I think that like I think maybe we'll have like Hux, because I don't know, they never say Hux is like a great military general or anything, but like
that speech alone kind of gave it to him though.
Yeah, on the Stormtroopers.
Yeah,
sick.
That was really cool actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, go First Order.
What about when they see the weapon? Like I just thought it was kind of cool because they see the weapon firing for the first time, and like they look up into the sky, but they're like on the side of the planet, so it's like it looks like it's shooting directly into the sky, but
it took me a while to like figure out what the hell was happening when I was watching it. I'm like, wait, what is going on? Like this like blaster, and like he like blew up the forest, and I was like, wait, what is happening? And then it zoomed out enough. I was like, oh, okay, it's shooting from the.
That was crazy.
planet.
Well, I thought that was kind of like. Wow, it was kind of OP. Like it's
dumb.
It's just like it killed like 4 planets at the same time.
It was like a big mortar.
Well, when you suck up an entire power of a sun.
Yeah.
That leads right back into this New Hope thing. It was like, ugh.
Yeah.
I would rather have seen something just.
I wonder what planets died in that.
We don't really know. It was some kind of city planet.
Yeah, it looked like Coruscant, but I don't think.
No,
it was
they would have mentioned that.
No, yeah.
Really clear. But yeah,
kind of looked like Terrace.
Yeah, I know. Could have been. Poor fucking Terrace. If that were the case.
If it really was Terrace,
we haven't gotten to that part quite yet, but
that's like in the beginning of the game.
We haven't gotten to the part where it gets annihilated, which is fine. I don't mind spoiling that for you. We only played
annihilated a second time.
Noob.
Yeah, you haven't played the best Star Wars game of all time. We need to.
It's true.
We need to.
It's great. I actually let Paul borrow it, and he's
never played it.
He's playing it right now.
Oh God.
Yeah.
For any listeners that don't know us, if you have not played Star Wars: Knights of the Republic, that's what you need to do.
You won't be.
I don't care what they say about canon. That shit is canon. Fuck you, Disney. It's canon to me.
You evil empire.
Just if you play it, you definitely have to probably get used to the dated graphics. It's very dated.
It is very
graphics
dated,
wise.
but the performances are still.
No, yeah, the story is
very dated. Yeah,
second to none.
Yeah,
that's what I keep hearing.
And I feel like anyone whoever did the design or artwork for Kylo Ren clearly has played the game because he looks a lot like Revan.
Does look a lot like Revan.
He looks like the bastard child of Vader and Revan.
Yeah. I loved his voice, because that was a big concern for me. It was like, are you going to try and sound like Vader? Are you going to how are you going to approach?
There's
that
definitely
voice?
Modulation.
It's modulation. It's great. Like the way he talks, like just the way he. I'm just a big fan of Adam Driver right now.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I want to see him in other stuff. Well, I like John Boyega a lot too. So.
Yeah.
They're gonna again those 3 characters, man.
Who is your who was your guys' favorite characters?
Finn.
Finn for me. The whole time I was like, Finn. And when he got
do you have a boyfriend? Cute boyfriend?
Oh, we were talking about
That's
that.
actually one of the jokes I thought missed a little. I was like, okay.
It made him more human to me.
That's true. It did.
Like my point with all that was like all of his
this is what
the
Resistance Fighter looks like.
that part was funny. I liked it.
Like all the stuff that all the like jokes that he had were not just jokes to be jokes. They were central to his character because they were all like totally socially ignorant because all he's done his entire life is be a stormtrooper.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah, that thing. Oh God,
which is weird that he's definitely the strongest character in Episode 7.
Yeah,
but he's the one that comes from like a totally manufactured personality of a stormtrooper.
Yeah,
that
shows you how strong his will and his
that's true. Yeah,
conscience is like he overcame all of that conditioning to know still this is wrong.
Yeah. He's definitely the only. I mean, Rey kind of has a little bit of one, but Finn has an arc in Episode 7.
Yeah, I feel like Finn is like the main character.
I
think Rey was supposed to be the main character.
I think she still is. She still is.
No, I think Rey's going to be the main of the next one. It was Finn in this one. I think it was Finn in this episode, and it's going to be Rey.
Yeah, Finn was just sort of our intro into the new Star Wars. Like, I felt like we started with him.
The thing about Finn too is like he definitely has more of an acting background than Rey does
John
too.
Boyega, you mean?
Yeah. Or what did I say?
You said Finn, which was fine.
Oh yeah,
I
well,
just was making sure. Finn has got an
I believe he's real. No, but
he was in the First Order's drama club.
Well, John Boyega's actually been in movies before too, so I think that there's an obvious kind of like, well, he gets more character development because he knows how to make a believable character.
Sure, that makes sense.
Whereas Daisy Ridley has only been on a set, I think, like once or twice, and the longest she's been on one was for like 2 weeks.
That's a classic Star Wars tradition.
She's very like new to acting.
They always all three groups of films have brought in relatively unheard of, unheralded actors.
Yeah,
on purpose.
It was awesome.
All three.
I mean,
sets.
Oscar Isaac really is even out of the original trilogy. Well, maybe not Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford was already.
But like Oscar Isaac is the most like well-to-do actor out of any of them.
Yeah, I think it was similar. Like he is the Harrison Ford as far as like because we've seen Oscar Isaac in other stuff. You know,
he's great.
And at that point, people.
I really need to see Ex Machina too. Like I've been wanting to see that movie so
really
bad.
Good. It's really, really, really good. Very intelligent film.
I have to like get it for Christmas or something for myself. Merry Christmas to me. Yeah. Oh, it was just great though. I'm definitely stoked, and I'm already like the wait for Rogue One now is like. It's real. Think of this right now. We are so when the first Star Wars teaser dropped, we are that long away from Rogue One now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's gonna be sick. I can't wait.
Well, all I can say is good job, J.J. Abrams. You did not become Jar Jar Abrams. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, no awesome. Kidding. Yeah, Abrams is fantastic, and the next Star Trek looks awesome too.
I've actually heard a lot of people said the new trailer didn't look that good. But
you saw the new trailer, didn't you? Because that's
no, I haven't.
They opened it. Really?
No.
Oh, they opened with it for Star Wars.
Not in my theater.
Oh, really?
What theater are you going to?
AMC.
Stop going to that theater.
Well, we went to AMC.
No, that's
too.
my favorite one. I love it. Reclining chairs.
It's weird they didn't show it. It looks awesome.
Yeah, shouts out to AMC.
Yeah.
Like, they're awesome.
I like Harkins too. I don't really care.
Harkins just cheaper. That's the thing about it.
I like her because it's more affordable.
Yeah.
But, like, the AMC I go to has nice reclining chairs. It has reserved seating, so that way I don't have to wait in lines for decades. I can literally leave 10 minutes before my showing starts. Beep, there's your ticket. Oh, you're in theater 5, and I walk in and sit down.
That's cool.
I don't have to wrestle with anybody to get there. I'm like, I reserved this spot. And all movie theaters, I think, should do that. Like, they need to get with the program and, like, do reserved seating. Because, like, when you go to a concert or something, like a sit-down concert, there's reserved seating. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah,
come on. Get with the program, movie theaters.
I guess you just don't want to have to, like, deal with everyone trying to, like, I don't know, people trying to, like, figure out.
Because then you get fucked. You just get stuck sitting in the front row. And
I know. Yeah, it does
sucks.
Suck. It really does suck. We got lucky last night. Somehow we were able to make it. But, yeah, overall, absolutely loved it. I can't wait to see what Disney does with the rest of it. Yeah, I don't think they're going to mess it up at this point. If you're going to mess it up, you would have messed up right there. So.
Oh, yeah.
I'd give it a solid 5 out of 7.
Oh, God.
What?
Have you seen this been going around online? This guy. So there's this dude who's making all these, like, Facebook posts, and he's just a piece of shit.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah, he was just like, he's making these racist posts.
Tell me how you really feel.
Anti-gay posts. He's just this nasty person.
Okay, so he is a piece
And so
of
this
shit.
guy who...
But he's also an idiot.
And he can't spell, he doesn't use any punctuation, but they're legit posts. And so this dude, who's probably kind of like us, just starts trolling him on all of his posts. And one of the things he's like, I give Fight Club a 5 out of 7. It was amazing. And so the guy just...
That's the most random grading scale.
I'll share it to you on your Facebook, man, because it's really funny. Because then that's about halfway through all the threads. And, like, many times throughout the threads, he'd be like, man, that was a great concert. I'd give that a 5 out of 7. Like, the troll guy keeps saying that to him.
He keeps throwing it at him.
He keeps saying it. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, 5 out of 7 people, 100%. Love this thing. Whatever. It's really funny. So.
Speaking of grading scales, let's go into what we would rate the movie.
ZeroHP's non-patented grading scale.
Yeah.
Taylor, give me yours first. I want yours.
Okay, so after seeing it twice now, I really
more authority than we have at this point.
When I saw it the first time, I went 8 out of 10. I think after seeing it a second time, 8.5 out of 10. I loved it, man.
Me
it was
too.
awesome.
Me
like
too.
I'm already ready to go see it again, and
me too.
I don't even know. Maybe after seeing it, I definitely think seeing it a second time was way more fun. Like
Yeah.
You guys should definitely go see it.
Oh, we will.
Honestly.
We will.
So, like, it was way better the second time. But, like, yeah, I'll have to go 8.5 out of 10. And even then, I'm like, who knows? That could change.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, it's still, like, still in your brain. You got to see it a lot. How about you, hon?
What was the number we settled? I think I would say somewhere between an 8.5 and a 9.
Well, there's nowhere in between there. You got to go 8.5 and 9.
You know what? I'm going to make up my own scale.
8.7.
I'm going to say it's an 8.8.
That's not how we do this.
Well, that's how I'm going to do it.
We don't do 100%.
You're breaking the system. Yes. You're breaking it.
It's Zero HP, goddammit.
Technically, I'm not part of Zero HP, so I can break your system.
That's true.
Right.
Break all you want.
Fine.
8.8 out of 10.
I hate those decimals like that. So.
Get the fuck out of here with your decimals.
I had the opposite reaction to you, so I came out of it last night, like flipping out like a little kid. I'm like, 9. And as I've spoken with others and considered and thought and really put everything together, I'm going 8.5 as well.
Awesome. It's pretty much 8.5 all around, really.
Yeah.
8.8.
She's just doing it despite us now.
8.5 and an 8.8. Wow, that's awesome. I'm glad.
Which is a high-ass score. I mean, I don't know. People were expecting like 9.
The only reason
I've seen 9s and 10s, and
the only Star Wars movie I would give a 10 personally is Empire Strikes Back. Whoa, Return of the Jedi is right there with those damn Ewoks, bringing it down to a 9.5 for me.
Those Ewoks had purpose.
They're cute, but they
should have been Wookiees.
You can't throw rock. You shouldn't be able to throw rocks at a stormtrooper.
Those stormtroopers, though. Yeah,
but
they couldn't fucking shoot beside him and barn.
That's the fault of Lucas not figuring that out.
That's why I'm not mad that the Ewoks could take him down, though, because those were pathetic stormtroopers.
Right, but they're not.
Now, if you put Ewoks against the First Order...
No, because they weren't bad, though. Like, that was just the movie had to come up with a way to get around it.
How sad are you going to be, though, if in, like, Episode 8, like, there's, like, a mention, like, Hux is, like, the genocide of the of the Ewoks has begun. And there's bombs.
Dude, Starkiller bases would have blown up anywhere.
Hey, you calm down.
Along with, like, we've also massacred the Gungans.
Yeah.
Boss Nass's head is on like a lightsaber pike or whatever.
With the help of our secret informant Jar Jar Binks, who's been evil this whole time.
It's Darth Jar Jar all along. Hashtag Kylo is Jar Jar.
Oh God.
No.
It's like a Scooby-Doo mask. He pulls off the Adam Driver mask and he's...
I would have gotten away with it too.
Misa would have gotten away with it too.
Fucking Angry Joe. Misa gonna fuck your wife. Shout out to you, Angry Joe.
Oh, dude.
Shout out to you.
I laughed till I cried. Like, it was so good.
Misa gonna die?
Yeah. Misa go fuck your wife.
If you have not seen this, we're referencing Angry Joe, his review of Battlefront, and also a Let's Play he did of the beta when it came out. That's when that originally...
Angry Joe's great.
He is.
Shouts out to Angry Joe, yes. AMC, and...
yeah, right? Copyrighted.
Yeah.
Give credit where it's due.
Right.
Anyway, I think we pretty much covered it.
Yeah, we've pretty much wrapped it up. So anyway, yeah, definitely go ahead, and I want to put out a call to action for any of you guys who are watching or listening. Go ahead and leave your comments down below and let us know what your rating was, what were some of your positives, what were some of your negatives, and have a discussion. I definitely want to. I want to know what everybody's thinking.
I don't want to see any 8.8s in there.
Tag spoilers as appropriate as well, just because I know we'll have to wait like a full week until you can freely talk about it, really.
Right, at least. Hey, if you're someone who hasn't seen Star Wars within 7 days of release, fuck you. I don't care.
Yeah.
You're getting it spoiled.
I agree. So, yeah, totally let us know. But other than that, I guess, does anybody have anything else they want to add? Anything you guys are doing that you want the people to know about?
Nothing that's new. I've been putting my Total War Let's Plays out with the Age of Charlemagne DLC.
Can we capture our Battlefront games?
Well, I've with PlayStation 4, it's not as easy as it is with the Xbox. We have to get the Elgato game capture card to work, and we couldn't get it to work last time, so we'll figure that out. Because that's why my review for Battlefront still isn't out, because I haven't been able to capture any footage, but I do have a rating for it. So
cool. Before we leave, I just want to throw this out there. Don't be a Star Wars dick and spoil it for people that don't want it spoiled.
Yeah, no kidding.
Do not be that person.
Much agreed.
It's been happening a lot. And it's
yeah.
I work in a school, and there's some kids at the school that were doing that, and they pretty much got suspended. I was not standing for that shit.
Sucks.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Really shitty.
It's really messed up.
Don't be a dick. Alrighty. Well, I think that wraps it up. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Thanks for watching, listening, whatever you're doing out there. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and facebook.com/ZeroHP crew. And then we'll also have another episode coming out soon as well. It's going to be our 3rd episode of the Holocron. And it's kind of an interesting subject. You get to know us as fans. So we'll have that out soon, sometime next week. And then we got our Let's Plays going and everything else. So yeah,
awesome.
Keep watching and stay tuned, everybody. Have a good day, and may the Force be with you.
Yes.
Always.
And with you.